Tonight, a new legal fight for President Trump tied to one of his campaign rallies, this one a little more than a year ago in Louisville, Kentucky.
Get out! You know, in the old days, which isn't so long ago, when we were less...
In the video, a 75-year-old veteran in the middle of the action. He's accused of assaulting the woman, getting pushed. That veteran, Alvin Bamberger, is now suing President Trump, alleging he lost his cool at the, quote, urging and inspiration of the president. This is the latest lawsuit tied to the rally. Already 3 protesters, including at least one you saw in that video, are suing President Trump as well, claiming he urged his supporters to assault them. The president's legal team disagrees. They're asking a court to drop the suits against him, claiming he won immunity because he's now president of the United States. Reaction from 2 of our legal analysts, Jeffrey Toobin and Laura Coates. Jeffrey, it's interesting. I mean, not only the protesters are suing, but also the guy who did the pushing, saying he lost his cool because of the president. The president's legal team has a variety of defenses, one of which is that the president the president has immunity and that he was talking to his security, not the people.
I think, well, let's just start with the immunity argument. I think that's completely wrong. Under the Supreme Court's decision in the Paula Jones case from 1995, we know that presidents are not immune from civil suits. However, I do think the president is very safe on the merits here. You know, incitement barely exists at all as a tort. I mean, it is almost impossible to prove. You know, the First Amendment protects virtually every kind of political speech. President Bush, or candidate Trump, did not tell anyone to hit anyone. He simply, just talked generally. I don't think he has any vulnerability on the merits here, even if he could have behaved in a more gentlemanly way.
Laura, do you agree with Jeff?
Actually, I completely disagree with what Jeff has to say. It's true that incitement can be hard to prove because you often don't have somebody who is the person who was the one to carry out the actual assault point the finger back at the person and say, this is the person who told me to do it and I was following it. The fact that he has incited violence is actually a concept of thinking this way. One, you had to actually try to compel a result, and it had to be imminent, meaning it had to happen shortly thereafter. Context will be very important here. You had a series where violence was a theme at these campaign rallies, and you have a president, now president, a then candidate, who was saying, look, I'll even pay for legal defenses if there's actually turned out to be a problem here. What he did was say, get him out, get him out. But you remember, he did it in a coy sort of way where he says things like, well, I can't say to touch him, I can't say hurt him, et cetera, because that would get me in trouble with the media, et cetera. So you have this theory that this person, this president, that then candidate, was actually trying to compel exactly what indeed happened. And I certainly commend that young woman for having the composure to withstand the abuse.
And she, I think, has a lawsuit against the people who hit her.
Absolutely.
That's very straightforward. There's no speech issue there. But I think you just have to listen to what candidate Trump said. He didn't say hurt anyone. He didn't say assault anyone. He said in the old days it would have been different. I mean, sure, he was not urging restraint. He was not behaving in a way to calm the situation down. But, the First Amendment protects people who say irresponsible things.
Laura, the president's lawyers say his statements like, get them out of here, were actually referring to his security team, not individuals attending his rally.
That is their theory. However, as it's actually portrayed and carried out here, he is pointing out the protesters throughout the speech, identifying them with gestures and commanding people to look in their direction. The security is not who removes them. The security is not who's shoving the people out. And in fact, he's almost jeering the crowd on to do this very thing. And this is not just my thoughts. The person you saw in the video is actually saying the same thing. And remember, the courts, of course, we believe in the First Amendment and we want to honor it. But the courts have already said that the excuse that you're going to not be taken at your word and we'll look at other contextual clues. They said that with the travel ban, for example, your campaign statements, the words you make actually mean something. We'll look behind it. Here, you've got a candidate who was saying things like kick them out, get them out, and pointing to them and cheering them on when they actually effectuated it.
We'll see. Jeff, do you think this thing will even go to trial?
I don't think so. I mean, come on. The 75-year-old man, he says, I was forced to behave the way I did? Come on, I mean, what about a little bit of personal responsibility? He acted like a moron, but Donald Trump didn't tell him to do that.
All right, Jeffrey, we got to leave it there. Jeffrey Toobin, Laura Coates, appreciate your
I'll leave it on the
perspective.
moron part, sure.
All right.